Welcome to Behind the Paws, where we get an inside look at Lufkin Athletics. Here's your host, Anna Greenway.
Hi, I'm Anna Greenway, and I'm here with Coach Abseck. How are you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Today we're just going to get into some stuff about football and fall camp and such. So, how has fall camp gone overall?
Overall, I've been very pleased. From the end of summer through where we're at right now, we've had a lot of really, really good days, and so I've been really pleased with them and their attitude, their effort, and their attention to detail. So, it's been a good start, and we kind of continue to build on those days.
Alrighty. What would you say are like the biggest challenges that the team has faced?
Well, I think really it's just the learning curve of new schemes, offensively, defensively, special teams, how we practice, how we meet, how we do everything is really pretty new to them. And so then you add in the new going to school part of it, and then starting to get ready for actual games and the preparation for those things specifically. I think that's all a bit of a challenge, but really it's just the newness and the not knowing the routine. They're starting to get it, and they're going to start understanding it, and it'll make more sense to them. But that's probably been the biggest difficulty, I guess.
All right. And what are some standout moments or players from fall camp?
I think, we have several guys that played a lot last year. Kenny Waters at running back and Kailyn Coleman were running back. Javion has really been, from the time I've been here till now, has probably been one of the most consistent and hardest working guys we've had leadership-wise. So I've been really pleased with him and where he's at as our quarterback and as a leader. Defensively, Hood and Keyshawn have kind of been the guys that have been the leaders in the back end. And then on the defensive front, we've got several young guys that have stepped up and are doing a good job of learning the position and stepping up into new roles. Davis being one of them, Witt being one, Webb being one. Just a lot of guys that, some of them have some experience coming back from last year, and some of them are kind of stepping up off of the JV. And so I've been pleased with them. At receiver, we've added a couple guys that came out from basketball that have done a good job with Sanders and Burst. But, Devon Wallace at the slot, Barr at the slot. They've done a really good job too. Bailey. I mean, we've had a lot of guys that have stepped up. JD's done a good job. Had days, and then you add in there some younger guys offensively with Joker and Robert Taylor. So we've been pleased. But the most consistent group, I think, overall for us offensively, outside of Javion, would be the offensive line, which is good, and because they're the ones that kind of get everything going. So I've been really pleased with the offensive line. But overall, just there's been a lot of guys, every day is a new day, and different guys kind of step up on different days. But overall, I've been pretty pleased with all of them.
All right. Moving on to team strengths and development, what do you see as the biggest strengths of this year's team?
Work ethic is one of them. I think they've shown that throughout the summer, through the spring, when we got here in February, and then we started going through our process and how we do things, and then went into spring ball and then transitioned into summer. I've been really, really impressed with their work ethic, and I think that's going to help lead them to success, not only in football, but in school and then beyond high school. It's something that carries over. So I've been really pleased with that. And I think they really like each other, and that's important. And it may seem weird, but there's times where different teams don't necessarily really like each other and truly care about each other, and I think this group does, and they have their moments and days, but overall I think they do care for each other, and that means you're going to play harder for each other at times.
Yes, sir. Are there any players who you've noticed really step up as leaders?
Kind of some of the guys I've mentioned, Javion has been one that has done that from the get-go, and Desmond is one that'll have a voice at times on defense and probably needs to do it more often. Keyshawn does as well, but he does it in a different way. And those guys are also your oldest guys, the ones that have been through it the most. Justice is one that talks, a little bit. But, overall, there's been several guys from different areas that have stepped up and will have a voice.
And so you moved to Lufkin last year. How would you say that the excitement in the community has built up as we're getting closer to season? Because we had Meet the Panthers yesterday, so we're really getting riled up.
Yeah, it's getting close. It's been a really good transition. It was nice to, finally get my family here in June. We were here from February to June, kind of just back and forth. So it's been good to be here and call it home. And so as far as the excitement, I think change can be exciting just because it's different, it's new. Obviously, at the end of the day, everybody wants to just be successful and win. So I think that's the biggest key is to continue that excitement is to go out and have success on the field, and that's what our guys are working really hard for. Our coaches are working really hard for, and I'm glad to see people excited and kind of fired up for the start. And our goal is to go out and hopefully make everybody happy.
Yes, sir. So what role would you say that students and families and fans play in helping support the team and motivate them?
One, packing the stadium is huge. It's like it doesn't matter what sport you're playing. If you have a bunch of people up there cheering you on, it's a motivating factor. As far as in-home support, families being involved, it really helps the success of the individual and as a whole the team because they have someone that they're playing for. It's the biggest thing in sports is always have somebody that you're playing for beside yourself, your team and your family, your community. And so I think with the community being excited about things, the kids will be a little bit more excited about it. And, it's just everybody needs support. Doesn't matter what you're doing. So if you're out there putting yourself out on the line to compete, having the support of your fans and your community is huge.
Yes, sir. So the scrimmage is on Friday. What is the main purpose of a scrimmage for the team?
The biggest thing for us is just evaluation. We're still trying to decide, who the starters are, who the backups are, who's going to play, on the varsity or the JV, and things of that nature. Obviously, you're looking for, guys to step up and make plays. And so as we begin to develop game plans and look at what we want to try to do against different opponents, you want to see who's shown the ability to step up in crucial situations and make plays. But for us, it's a big evaluation tool just to see where everybody's at. From a team standpoint, we're trying to see where we have strengths and have weaknesses so that we can address those things in practice that we're not as proficient at, and then highlight the positives. Guys that go out and make plays, you find different ways to get them the ball so that they can have more opportunities to do that. So it's really just a huge practice with fans in a sense, but we want to see our guys' understanding of what we're trying to do offensively and defensively, and then who will go out and make plays.
What are some specific things that you look for out of players during the scrimmage?
Knowledge, guys that know their job and go out and just do it. The thing is they get so used to having coaches and other guys around them that can kind of help them, throughout a practice, that you want to see them out there by themselves having to make those decisions on the fly. So I want to see guys that don't bust and can go out and do their job, because everybody's job on the field really depends on the other, and for all of us to do it together at the same time, that's what really leads to success. And so we got to see who will go do that and do it consistently. And so, that's the biggest key is finding those consistent playmakers that will go out and do things right offensively and defensively, because if you're not lining up correctly, or you're running the wrong routes, or you fill the wrong gap on defense, then bad things happen for our team. So we got to see who's going to do it right the most.
Yes, sir. What are your biggest goals for this season?
To be the best we can be. I think every year the goal as a coach is to when you look back at it, that your team maximized who they were potentially, and the closer you get to being that, to have maximizing who you are, I think you're going to be more excited about what the finished product was. And everybody talks about wins and losses, and those things kind of take care of themselves. If you do things right on a daily basis, you're going to win the games that you're supposed to win, and then a few that you're not. And I think our team overall, we're going to, we want to go try to be undefeated, try to win the district championship, and then go to the playoffs and make a run, and so that's the big picture goal. But it's a lot of daily steps that have to go in that time frame to make that happen.
And so it's your first season with the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that fans should watch for this upcoming season?
I think, the biggest deal is you're going to see a bunch of guys that go out and play real hard. We're going to be disciplined. And then, we're going to throw different wrinkles at teams to hopefully give us an advantage and make some big plays. But I think you're going to see a bunch of guys that will play really hard for each other, will fly around, and it's going to be exciting brand of football to watch.
Okay. To close out the podcast, we're going to have some fun questions.
Okay.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Superman.
Okay. Who's your favorite band or artist?
Nickelback.
Dad Rock?
I'm 51, so.
What's your go-to pregame meal or snack?
Probably Whataburger.
Okay. Who would you hire to play you in a movie about your life?
My son.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Don't worry about making mistakes. The only people that have ever gone through life without making a mistake are the ones that didn't do anything.
It's phenomenal advice. And what is one word you'd use to describe this year's team?
Fun.
Okay, well, that brings us to a wrap. Thank you so much for spending some time with me and answering some questions.
No problem. Appreciate it.
Go Pack!